Hi guys, it's me, Carrie. It is Friday morning, I think 22nd of July, and I am going to start my Q&A. I'm really excited that I got a bunch of questions. They were actually only from 3 different people, but that is totally cool because I said you guys could submit as many questions as you'd like. And this may be a two-parter because I have a lot of questions, but I'm really stoked to answer them for you. So I'm going to start out with the first one. Ooh, okay, I have them on my Kindle Fire, and all of a sudden they went away because I was too lazy to write them all down. Okay, sorry. First question comes from Haley, and Haley asked, what made you want to start selling your bracelets? It's kind of a funny story. I started making bracelets when I was probably in elementary school or junior high at best. I made beaded bracelets and also the friendship style bracelets that I have on my Love Knots page. The beaded ones you can find on my Persevering Pretties page, both through Facebook. The links are always in the Dropbox. But it was just something I did for fun. And the first time I think I ever sold them was on a trip to Ocean City, Maryland with my family. We went there a couple times when I was, I think, a sophomore and junior in college. Maybe 3 times. I remember going definitely twice. No, we had to have gone at least 3 times. But we would stay in this place right on the boardwalk, and there were tons and tons and tons of food vendors and gift shops where you could just buy, souvenirs and trinkets. Tons of dine-in restaurants, tons of walk-up, casual dining places. I think when we originally went, there was a Ripley's Believe It or Not museum at the end of the boardwalk. On either side of the boardwalk, there were like dueling carnivals. Not carnivals, like amusement parks. They were like permanent fixtures. They weren't like those sketchy rides that, carnies come and set up and travel with. And there was just so much fun stuff to do, and there were always people, entertainers would come, that would sing and busk and whatever all along the boardwalk. And at one point I said, you know what, screw it, I've got all these bracelets I've been making, why don't I try to make a few bucks? I knew we were going to be going to nearby Rehoboth, Delaware, which, by the way, and I don't know why I don't know why this stupid thing keeps making my video change and then I lose my questions. Okay, sorry. But we would go to Rehoboth, Delaware, which was nearby, and they had outlet shopping. And the other great thing besides the outlets, were the fact that Delaware is tax free. Like, you don't pay taxes on retail sales tax on anything. I don't know if there's like tax on property and things like that, but there's no retail sales tax. There wasn't then. I don't think there is now. So if we went to, say, the Coach outlet, which, was something I did back when I was a teenager and didn't have any responsibilities, I would buy myself a treat every now and then or whatever. So I said, screw it, I'm just going to sit and I'm going to sell my bracelets on the boardwalk. I actually had bracelets and anklets, and I sold them for so cheap. I sold the bracelets, I think, for $1 and the anklets for $2. And I just set up with like a milk crate. If you've ever seen a plastic old school milk crate that like milk deliveries used to come in, they probably still do to like retail stores, but I think they used to use them to deliver to people at home as well. And we always had those like in our van or our truck or whatever vehicle we were driving at any given time, just for storage. So I remember setting up, like sitting on a milk crate and then putting another milk crate in front of me and just displaying my bracelets on cardboard racks, much the same way I do now. And long story short, I ended up making enough money that I could buy myself a Coach handbag, which I was really, really stoked about. And I don't think I have it anymore. I don't know what I did with it, but I was really proud of myself for that. But then I had to stop because there were these 2 little bratty girls that were also staying in the same hotel, Efficiencies. We were like, there was a hotel, and then next to it was Efficiencies that basically were like little apartments. They had kitchens and separate bedrooms and a living room and yada, yada, yada. And there were these 2 little bratty girls that I guess their mother saw me selling jewelry, so they came out and started selling jewelry too. Like, they just totally got on my jam. And I guess because at that point it became like an attraction. Like, there were 2 people, so people would come up in like groups and like look at mine and then look at theirs. some ass from the hotel, I don't know who it was, another guest, I presume, reported us and said, "I'm sorry, but do you have a permit to be selling out here?" And I said, "No, I'm just a teenage girl selling bracelets on the boardwalk. There's people busking all over the place. People are selling stuff all over. I didn't know I needed a permit." They're like, "Oh, well, we got a complaint, so I'm afraid you're going to have to, put everything away and stop selling." And I was so pissed. Part of me thinks it was actually the mother of those girls, because they weren't getting nearly as many sales as I was, and they were like bitter and jealous or whatever. So that was the end of that. But that was when I first started selling my bracelets. Obviously, I sell them for more now because I, put more work in and they're more intricate. But I don't have a real job. So anything that I can do as a side hustle to make a little bit of money definitely helps a tremendous amount. So that is why. And half the time I still end up giving my bracelets away. I give them away to friends all the time. There are many friends that can testify that I've given them free bracelets. And when I go to horror conventions, I tend to give them out a lot too. Not only to celebrities that I meet that are cool, but also just to other fans, especially kids, little girls. Most little boys are not into them, but I'm certainly happy to share them with boys too. And yeah, so that's the deal with the bracelets. But thank you for that question, Haley. All right. If I'm going to take that long to answer, this may be like a 3 or 4-parter. Okay, some of these may be quicker. Okay, I have a bunch of questions from Loretta. And the first question is, what are your hobbies? My main hobby is writing. I love to write poetry, and I'm working on my first novel. Oh, it still sounds crazy to say that, but it's true. I'm really, really excited about it. I think it's really promising, and I have a friend reading it now who is really enjoying it, and getting her feedback has been tremendously helpful, and encouraging. So I write a lot. I like to do my junk journal, which is basically like a mini version of a scrapbook, except it doesn't generally have a lot of photographs. It's more stickers and movie ticket stubs and like little gift notes, like if people send me a gift and it says like "to carry" on it, little notes and things, just memories, like kind of compiled in a little book. But I do sometimes print photographs and put them in there, but since I don't print photos as much, who really does these days, there aren't as many photographs in it, so it's not technically a scrapbook per se. But I love working on that. I love obviously making my jewelry. I love watching movies and MST and Riff Tracks reruns. I can watch them over and over and over again, and my husband could testify that I do. I will watch the same episode 100 times. I have favorite movies that I will watch incessantly too. I don't know if that's a question coming up, favorite movies. It might be, so I won't talk about that yet. But yeah, and I love to go to thrift stores. I am trying really hard to cut back on the clutter, so I don't go as often as I used to, but I still really enjoy it, and I let myself, have a little fun once in a while. All right. Oh, favorite movie. I swear to God, I didn't see that was next unless I did my peripheral vision. Some of you may know this already, but my very favorite movie is Silence of the Lambs. I absolutely adore it. Jodie Foster is perfection. Anthony Hopkins was wonderful. Really, the entire cast. Casey Lemons, Scott Glenn, just everybody in that movie was so perfect. And I'm a huge Jodie Foster fan. So that is my favorite movie of all time. But very, very close runner-up is, well, there's a couple. If I were to try to do top 5 off the top of my head right now, it would be Silence on top. Then in no particular order, I adore The Virgin Suicide. Sofia Coppola did a phenomenal job directing it. Again, cast is spot on. It's a beautiful story. I also love the novel. I really love White Oleander. Fabulous, again, female-driven cast, led by the glorious Alison Lohman, Michelle Pfeiffer, Renee Zellweger, Robin Wright, some of my favorite actresses. I also love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. That's right up there for me. And I really love A Christmas Story, and I can watch it any time of year. It doesn't have to be wintertime. And when they do like the TNT 24-hour marathon, I watch it at least twice every year. I can't help myself. I love many, many more movies too. Oh my God, Alfred Hitchcock. I love the trilogy of movies of his that I've seen. I have not seen remotely all of his catalog, but I love The Birds, I love Psycho, and I love Vertigo. Rear Window, I'm sorry, I think it was pretty overrated. I'm not super into that one. But yeah, so many more. God, I'm not even getting into horror, but well, I got into horror a little with Hitchcock, but I'm going to move on. Favorite actor and actress, obviously I already said or implied. Favorite actress, Jodie Foster. Favorite actor, I don't really have one. Isn't that weird? I don't have a favorite male actor. Like, there's nobody that, like, if they announce that so and so was in a movie, I would have to run out to see it. Whereas with Jodie, generally I do. Although that's not necessarily true. I still haven't seen that one. What was it, about Guantanamo or something? I haven't seen that one yet. So I don't think I have a favorite male actor. I'd have to think on that. I mean, there are certainly ones that I admire a great deal. Tom Hanks is fabulous. Denzel Washington. I like a lot of work that Ethan Hawke has done. Anthony Hopkins, obviously. But as far as a favorite male actor, I can't necessarily think of one off the top of my head. Favorite music genre and band or singer. My favorite music genre, to be very specific, is 80s New Wave, particularly 80s New Wave one-hit wonders. I'm just super, super into those. I happen to have a couple of MTV releases that were like classic MTV. I actually, no, I have one that's an MTV one, and then there were others. It was called like Just Can't Get Enough, after, you know, obviously the Depeche Mode song. But there were like volumes of 80s songs, and they were new wave and mostly one-hit wonders. And I just dig tunes like that. I really do. So as far as a genre, probably that. Also, I just female singer-songwriters. I adore Tori Amos. She's my favorite female singer. I love Sarah Bareilles. I love Edie Brickell. I love Juliana Hatfield. God, so many. Sean Colvin, like people in that female singer-songwriter vibe. Older, you know, older singers. Not older, meaning like they're old, but like from an earlier era. Like I love Joni Mitchell. I love Carly Simon. I love Stevie Nicks. Just, so many, so many, so many. Duran Duran was a favorite growing up, and I still dig a lot of their work, even newer stuff. God, I love so much music. But yeah, those are some of the faves that come to mind. Billy Joel, Elton John, you know, the obvious, Sting, Peter Gabriel, Genesis. I'm really bummed I don't have tickets to see Genesis because I've never seen the band. I've seen Phil Collins 3 or 4 times solo, but I've never seen the band, so that would be really cool. I'm amazed that they're doing a reunion tour, and I would love to go to that, but I'm not, because I can't afford tickets to shows anymore. They're so crazy expensive. It's like you're lucky if you can get a single seat for $100, and that's not in my budget. Okay, favorite subject in school was English, no question. We did not have a creative writing class in my school, which is ridiculous. I graduated with 98 kids, including me. So 97 fellow graduates and myself in my graduating class. Smallest public high school on Long Island, at least at the time. I'm not naming the town, but yeah, teeny tiny. So they considered that an elective, and they couldn't offer that many electives because they couldn't justify hiring more teachers to teach those classes when there would be so few students in them. Just by definition, you know, there's, you know, only so many kids could be in any given class at any given time if there's only 98 in the whole class. So yeah, we didn't have things like a drama class and a creative writing class and things that are so basic, or should be, in every high school. So it would have been creative writing had there been a specific class for that, but in lieu of that, it was English. I always loved to write and read. Did I go to college? And if so, what was my degree in? Yes, I did go to college. I went to Hofstra University here on Long Island. We like to call ourselves the Harvard of Long Island, the Harvard of Hempstead. But it's certainly not an Ivy League school, but it's a pretty decent school. And it wasn't my initial plan to go there. I had actually applied to a school in Connecticut called Fairfield University, and I got in, and I was planning to go there. Didn't realize it was a Catholic college, by the way, until I got there and did a tour. So that was kind of weird because I was raised Protestant and I'm not religious at all. I consider myself spiritual, not religious. I've shared that before. But I don't know, I just dug the vibes of Connecticut and that area, and it seemed like a pretty cool liberal arts college. So in spite of the whole Catholic thing, I was like, I might be able to do this. And I had every intention of going. And then I went on a senior class trip to Busch Gardens, Virginia, with my ensemble choir. And when I came home, all of a sudden my mother was like, you know, you didn't really think about college. That was just your local school. Like, why didn't you think about Hofstra? And she kind of pushed towards that. And years later, I found out it was because my parents really couldn't afford to send me to Fairfield, and they didn't have, you know, they didn't want to break my heart by telling me that. Even though I did get some scholarships, it still would have been out of our reach, and Hofstra was more affordable. So yeah, I ended up going to Hofstra, and I liked it. I wish in retrospect I'd applied to tougher schools, like that I had actually applied to like Yale and Harvard just to see if I would have gotten in. I always did well academically. I was fairly well rounded. I deliberately tried to like join groups so I would, you know, it would look good on college applications, although I was never athletic. I didn't do sports. I actually loved playing field hockey, but the popular girls played field hockey and I was not a popular girl, so I was too afraid that they would like bully me and pick on me if I played, so I never did, even though I always wanted to. But other than sports, like I was in Students Against Drunk Driving, I was in the choir and the ensemble choir. By my senior year, I was features editor of the newspaper. I was on the staff of the yearbook, and I was so not social. Like, I didn't say any words to anybody when I did these things. I legit just did them for like good college application cred. But yeah, it ended up being Hofstra, and I made a couple of friends that are still like dear friends. One of my very best friends was one of my professors starting freshman year, and we're friends to this day. So, you know, shit works out. Okay, let's see. How did I meet my husband? Okay, that's an interesting story, and it could take a really long time, so I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes version. I met my husband in an MSN chat room. And the younger of you, like Gen Z, you're like, what the hell is a chat room? What's, you know, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's like a rotary phone or a record. But I met him in an MSN chat room. I was chatting a lot in MSN on starting in, I think, 1999 when we got our computer, and then into 2000, and I did that a lot. It was much easier for me to socialize in the written word than in person. It's just always been my thing. And ultimately, there ended up being a group formed, an MSN chat group called Ballbusters, and that just got my attention. I thought, well, shit, I'm a ballbuster, you know, that might be a fun chat room to go into. And the two of the mods that were in that group were my dear friends Jim and Jerry, a married couple. And Jim and Jerry had, you know, we ended up forming such a tight group in Ballbusters. We became pretty inclusive. You know, regulars would show up all the time. My chat name was Butterfly. Brian's was Murph. Actually, the THE_MURF. Even though it's Murphy MURPHY, his nickname was Murph MURF. So I didn't know him really through that group, but he was a mod in other MSN groups, and eventually he found his way into Ballbusters. But Ballbusters eventually evolved to a separate website. Jim and Jerry bought a domain, .org, not .com. I don't know if .com still exists, but it's a really skeezy porn site, so don't look for that unless that's what you're into, and hey, whatever, I don't judge. But it was ballbusters.net, and unfortunately the domain has long since been gone unless somebody else bought it. They, you know, just didn't maintain it after a few years. But we had a barbecue at Jim and Jerry's home in Vermont the summer of 2000. They invited a bunch of us from the Ballbusters webpage to get together, and people literally came from as far away as the Netherlands to little old Vermont, USA, and there were probably about 30 of us there. And yeah, I flew up from New York, not knowing any of these people from Adam in person, just only having chatted online. At that point, I don't even think I'd spoken to any of them on the phone, and we had the time of our lives. It was such a great time, and we ended up I think Jim ended up making a video, a compilation of a bunch of photographs we'd taken over the course of the weekend, and put it with some music. And Brian ultimately ended up seeing the video and saying, who's the butterfly? She's pretty cute. And that was how we met, was through technically an MSN chat group, but really through the Ballbusters website. So yeah. Okay, I'm not going to go past 25 minutes because then this will get really long. I'll just pick up with another video. Okay, this is still Loretta's questions. What are some of your favorite YouTube channels? To be honest, I don't watch a lot of other people's YouTubes. I used to a lot more. And gosh, do I even know the names of the pages? I mean, I know the names of the people that run the pages. I love Beetle Babe, run by my friend Jen. I love Lip Balm Queen, my friend Candace. Oh gosh, who else do I watch on the regular? See, like, I've made more friends through YouTube channels, but a lot of them are not actively YouTubing at this point. So those are really the main two that I watch. And then I watch, Animal Crossing videos because I love to play the game, but I can't think per se of the name of channels that I watch. So I'm just going to go with Lip Balm Queen and Beetle Babe. What is my favorite necklace and bracelet that I wear? I am wearing my favorite necklace right now. It's going to be backwards, but it says hope, and it's very significant to me. I picked a date back in 2012 that I read a particular book, and that book really spoke to me. It was the first time I read it, and I'm going to name it. It was called Guts by Kristen Johnston, and I ultimately became friends with Kristen, and the book just really, really inspired me. And I decided from that day forward, I was going to be living with, not dying from, depression and anxiety. I was going to live a much better quality of life. I was going to say, as of now, I'm changing my perspective. I'm going to try to cope with it a lot better and not see it as such a burdensome thing in my life. And I mean, it's still a burdensome thing, but I can't let it define me and limit me, in all ways. So I considered that my recovery date. Like, I started my real recovery, even though you can't actually recover from depression and anxiety. You can learn to cope with it better. And that was, I believe, it was in August of 2012. I don't remember the specific date, but a year to the day after that, I was in the city with Brian, and we were walking around downtown near Washington Square Park. And there, I think it was a high school gymnasium that was open to the public. They were doing like a pop-up crafts and art fair, and we went inside, and I saw a table with a bunch of jewelry, and I saw this necklace, and I just fell in love with it. And hope is my favorite word. I can't tell you when it became my favorite word, but it's been my favorite word at least since 2013 when I bought this necklace. But I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to have that necklace. It's the anniversary of the day that, I said I was gonna, change my life and have a better quality of life. So he bought it for me, and I do switch necklaces off, but this is the necklace I'm wearing most of the time, and I would wear it with other things, but it's a really delicate chain that tangles easily, so I tend to wear this by itself most of the time. And favorite bracelets right now, they are these. They are my dueling, like my Princess Diana protective guardian fierce warrior princess bracelets that were gifted to me by my beloved friend Terry. I just adore them. They make me feel confident, and they make me feel protected and strong and fierce like Diana Prince, And I have just always loved Wonder Woman and the whole story behind her. I loved watching the show as a little girl growing up. I used to play Wonder Woman with my cousin. I would always make her be the little sister because she was younger than me by like 3 months. So she's not dead. She is younger than me by 3 months. And so I would, I'd pull out my bossy panties and be like, no, you have to be Drusilla because I'm older, so I can be Diana. So blah, blah, blah. But anyway, we used to play act Wonder Woman episodes and stuff. We also did Charlie's Angels. I was always Chris, even though Chris is technically younger than Jill, and I didn't realize that later. they were sisters on the show. Cheryl Ladd and Farrah Fawcett's characters. Technically, Jill was the older sister, and I didn't realize that, but I just preferred Cheryl Ladd, so I was like, I'm Chris, and you have to be Jill, and I'm the boss of you, so you have to listen. But yeah, so right now it's these beautiful bracelets, and of course I love all my Pura Vidas, and the first one I ever bought was Joyful Heart Foundation in support of the charity run by Mariska Hargitay of Law and Order SVU fame. It supports people who are victims of domestic violence and intimate violence, and it's just a wonderful charity, and I love that bracelet for what it means, for the fact that it supports that charity, and also because it was my first Pura Vida. And we're at 25:15, so I'm going to stop here, and I will be right back with part 2. So please stay tuned for more stuff. Bye, guys.